Chosen one, listen carefully, this message you about to hear. The name that shook heaven. You felt it, didn't you? Like something shifted in the unseen. Like a door closed without warning. Like your name was whispered and then erased. This is not about rejection. This is about awakening. There comes a moment when comfort is removed. When excuses are stripped away. When you can no longer hide behind potential. It feels like loss, but it is a summons, a call to rise beyond who you have been. What it really means. Being chosen is not about applause. It is not about status. It is not about feeling superior. It is about responsibility. It is about carrying light in dark places. It is about standing firm when others bend. Many want the title. Few can endure the weight. When it feels like your name was removed. What is really happening is that your old identity is being challenged. The stripping season. There are seasons where everything familiar disappears. Friends grow distant. Plans collapse. Opportunities fade. You begin to question your path. You wonder if you were ever called at all. But stripping is not abandonment. It is refinement. Gold is purified by fire. Character is strengthened by trials. The silence that follows. You pray. You reflect. You wait. And it feels quiet. But silence does not mean absence. Sometimes silence means preparation. Sometimes silence means you are being tested. To see if your faith is anchored. Or dependent on constant reassurance. Different from the beginning. You always felt different. Not better. Just different. You questioned what others accepted. You saw beyond surface conversations. You felt called to depth in a shallow world. That difference is not random. It is a sign of awareness. Awareness often comes with isolation. And isolation often comes with growth. The burden of seeing clearly. When you see clearly, you cannot pretend blindness. You notice injustice. You notice hypocrisy. You notice manipulation. And that awareness can make others uncomfortable. They prefer silence. You prefer truth. That tension creates resistance. Resistance creates pressure. Why society pushes back? Society rewards conformity. It rewards comfort. It rewards silence. But the awakened spirit does not settle easily. You ask questions. You challenge narratives. You refuse to shrink to fit expectations. And that unsettles people. So they label you. They misunderstand you. They attempt to silence you. The misunderstanding. You are called intense. Too serious. Too deep. Too different. But intensity is often clarity. Depth is often sincerity. And difference is often purpose. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone is meant to. The test of identity. When it feels like your name was removed. What is truly being tested is who you are without validation. Are you still committed? When no one is watching. Are you still disciplined? When there is no applause. This is where character is formed. This is where true strength emerges. Spiritual awakening. Awakening is not dramatic lightning. It is gradual realization. You begin to question your habits. You begin to evaluate your circle. You become more aware of your words. You guard your energy. You value integrity. You choose purpose over popularity. These are signs of awakening. The signs you cannot ignore. You crave solitude more than noise. You feel conviction when you compromise. You sense when something is not aligned. You desire growth over comfort. You are no longer entertained by chaos. You seek meaning. You seek discipline. You seek truth. These are not accidents. The inner battle. The greatest battle is internal. Doubt whispers. Fear questions. Past mistakes echo. You wonder if you are worthy. But worthiness is not perfection. It is persistence. It is returning to alignment. Again and again. The responsibility of light. Light exposes darkness. Not to shame, but to guide. When you carry clarity, others may resist it, because light reveals what they avoid. That resistance is not proof of failure. It is proof of impact. The moment of accountability, sometimes the feeling of removal, is actually accountability. A wake-up call, a reminder that potential unused becomes regret. You are not being erased. You are being reminded. You cannot sleep through your calling. The shift in priorities. You begin to value discipline over impulse, integrity over image, prayer over pride, purpose over popularity. This shift is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. Growth demands change. Change demands courage. The isolation phase. There will be nights when you feel alone, when no one understands the weight you carry. But solitude builds clarity. Clarity builds strength. Strength builds leadership. Isolation is not punishment. It is preparation. The rejection that redirects. Not every closed door is loss. Some are protection. Some are redirection. What you thought was removal may be alignment. You are being positioned for environments that match your growth. The humility test. Being chosen does not mean pride. It means humility. It means recognizing that strength comes from discipline, and discipline requires surrender to truth. Ego blocks growth. Humility unlocks it. The discipline of silence. You do not need to announce every move. You do not need to defend every misunderstanding. Sometimes silence is strategy. Sometimes silence is wisdom. Let your consistency speak. Let your character answer. The courage to stand. There will be moments when standing alone feels heavy, but standing alone with conviction is stronger than standing with a crowd. In confusion, courage is not loud. It is steady. It is unwavering. The rebuilding phase. After stripping comes rebuilding. Stronger habits, clearer boundaries, focused vision. You become intentional. You become disciplined. You become aware. This is transformation. The internal confirmation. You may not receive public validation, but you will feel internal peace. A quiet confidence. A grounded certainty. Not arrogance. Not ego. Just alignment. The purpose beyond you. Your growth is not only for you. It impacts your family, your community, your future. When you choose integrity, you set a standard. When you choose discipline, you inspire strength. The warning and the invitation. If you ignore the call, life becomes stagnant. If you answer it, life becomes purposeful. The feeling that your name was removed is not final. It is a warning and an invitation. The decision point. You must decide. Will you shrink back into comfort, or will you rise into responsibility? No one can choose for you. This is personal. This is real. The renewed identity. When you accept the weight, your identity strengthens. You no longer chase approval. You pursue growth. You no longer fear isolation. You value refinement. You no longer question your difference. You understand it. The AWAKNED walk. Walk with discipline. Walk with clarity. Walk with humility. Let your actions reflect your beliefs. Let your consistency define your strength. Awakening is daily, not dramatic. Daily, the final realization. Heaven did not remove your name. Comfort did. Distraction did. Fear tried to. But your name is written. In your choices. In your discipline. In your integrity. If this message spoke to you, do not ignore it. Commit to growth. Commit to discipline. Commit to purpose. You are not here to blend in. You are here to rise with integrity. If you are ready to embrace your awakening, like this video, comment your commitment below, and subscribe to Return to Awakening, so you never miss the truth that challenges you to become stronger, the fire of refinement. There is a fire you cannot see. It does not burn your body. It burns illusions. It burns excuses. It burns the version of you that was comfortable staying small. You feel pressure. You feel stretching. You feel uncomfortable growth. But refinement never feels convenient. It feels necessary. The weight of responsibility. When awareness increases, responsibility increases. You cannot unsee what you have seen. You cannot unknow what you now understand. That knowledge demands action. It demands discipline. It demands alignment between your words and your lifestyle. This is where many retreat, because clarity removes excuses. And excuses are comfortable. The cost of complacency. Complacency feels safe. It feels predictable. It feels easy. But it slowly weakens the spirit. It dulls your conviction. It silences your potential. You were not designed to live numbly. You were designed to live intentionally. And intention requires effort. The loneliness of growth. Growth will separate you. Not because you are better, but because you are moving. Some people prefer familiar cycles. You prefer forward progress. That difference creates distance. Distance creates loneliness. But loneliness can create clarity. And clarity creates power. The discernment shift. Your discernment sharpens. You sense motives quickly. You detect manipulation early. You feel when something is off. This is not paranoia. It is awareness. But awareness requires wisdom. Because not every battle deserves your energy. Choose carefully where you stand. The internal war. There are days when doubt screams loudly. When your past tries to define you. When mistakes replay in your mind. But growth is not the absence of mistakes. It is learning from them. It is refusing to repeat them. It is transforming regret into discipline. You are not your lowest moment. You are your decision to rise again. The pressure to conform. People may try to pull you back. Back into old habits. Back into old conversations. Back into old limitations. Because your growth exposes stagnation. And stagnation resents movement. But you cannot shrink to make others comfortable. Comfort has already cost you enough. The quiet building. Not every transformation is visible. Some of your strongest shifts are internal. Stronger boundaries. Healthier thoughts. Clearer intentions. No applause. No spotlight. Just silent progress. This is where real power forms. The HUMBLING, there will be moments that humble you, moments that remind you that you are still learning, still evolving, still refining. Do not resent those moments. They protect you from arrogance. They keep you grounded. They keep your heart soft. The discipline of patience. You want clarity now. You want confirmation now. You want visible results now. But patience is part of maturity. Not every seed grows overnight. Not every effort shows immediate fruit. Consistency over time creates transformation. Stay steady. Stay focused. The breaking of old patterns. You begin to recognize cycles. Cycles of procrastination. Cycles of toxic attachments. Cycles of self-doubt. And instead of blaming others, you take ownership. Ownership is powerful. Because what you own, you can change. The strength in self-control. Self-control is not weakness. It is strength under direction. It is choosing silence over reaction. It is choosing prayer over panic. It is choosing discipline over impulse. Many react. Few restrain. Restraint builds character. Character builds legacy. The awakening of purpose. Purpose is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. It nudges you toward better habits. It pushes you toward deeper reflection. It calls you toward service. It reminds you that your life has weight, that your choices matter, that your growth impacts others. The redefinition of success. Success is no longer attention. It is alignment. It is peace in private. It is integrity when no one is watching. It is discipline when excuses appear. You redefine winning. Winning becomes becoming. Becoming better. Becoming stronger. The courage to walk away. Sometimes growth means walking away. Away from distractions. Away from environments that weaken you. Away from conversations that drain you. Walking away is not defeat. It is wisdom. It is protection. It is strength choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. The unseen support. Even when you feel alone, you are supported by your commitment to truth, by your dedication to growth, by your refusal to quit. That inner support matters. It stabilizes you. It anchors you. It keeps you grounded when emotions fluctuate. The clarity after confusion. There was a time when you felt lost, uncertain, unclear, but confusion often precedes clarity. Questions often precede answers, and searching often precedes understanding. Do not despise the confusion phase. It prepared you for deeper awareness. The shift from emotion to discipline. Emotions change daily. Discipline remains steady. You cannot build a purposeful life on unstable feelings. You build it on commitment, on routine, on intention. This is maturity. This is awakening in action. The rejection of mediocrity. You begin to reject average thinking, average habits, average effort, not because you crave superiority, but because you understand potential. And potential ignored becomes regret. You refuse to live beneath your capacity. You refuse to waste your time. The inner peace that confusses others. As you grow, you react less. You argue less. You prove yourself less. That peace confuses people. They expect you to explode. You respond with calm. They expect you to panic. You respond with patience. Peace is power under control. The transformation continues. This journey is ongoing. Not a single moment. Not a dramatic event, but daily choices, daily refinement, daily surrender to truth. The feeling that something was removed was not the end. It was the beginning of awareness, the mirror moment. There comes a moment when you can no longer blame the world. You stand in front of your own reflection, and you see the habits that held you back, the fears you entertained, the discipline you delayed. This is not condemnation. It is clarity. And clarity is a gift, because once you see clearly, you can finally change deliberately. The death of the old you. Every elevation requires a release. Old mindsets must die. Old reactions must fade. Old identities must dissolve. This feels uncomfortable, because the familiar, even when unhealthy, feels safe. But growth demands separation from what no longer serves you. You are not losing yourself. You are losing limitations. The temptation to return. There will be days when going back seems easier. Back to distraction. Back to laziness. Back to blending in. But you have tasted awareness. And once you taste awareness, ignorance feels heavy. You cannot unknow what you now understand. Forward is the only direction that gives you peace. The weight of vision. When you begin to see your potential, it can feel overwhelming, because vision carries responsibility. It whispers you can do more. You can be better. You can serve deeper. And that whisper refuses to be silenced. It follows you into quiet moments. It reminds you that average is not your destiny. The war against distraction. Distraction is subtle. It does not always look harmful. It looks entertaining. It looks harmless. It looks temporary. But it steals focus. It weakens consistency. It delays purpose. Guard your attention. Where your attention goes, your life follows. The building of spiritual muscle. Strength is not built in comfort. It is built in resistance. In saying no when temptation is loud. In staying consistent when motivation is low. In praying when answers feel delayed. Each act of discipline is repetition. Each repetition builds strength. You are becoming stronger than your impulses. Stronger than your doubts. Stronger than your past. The shift in conversation. Notice how your conversations change. You crave meaning over gossip, purpose over drama, growth over complaints. You no longer entertain small talk that drains you. You desire discussions that elevate you. This shift is evidence. Evidence that your mind is expanding, that your standards are rising. The courage to be misunderstood. Not everyone will understand your transformation. Some will say you changed. They are right. You did. You had to. Growth requires change. And change makes people uncomfortable. Be willing to be misunderstood. If it means staying aligned. The inner alignment. Alignment feels different. It feels calm. It feels steady. It feels grounded. Even when challenges appear, there is an inner stability. You are no longer easily shaken, because your foundation is no longer external. It is internal. The breaking point that built you. There was a breaking point. A night when you felt overwhelmed. A season when you questioned everything. You thought you were falling apart, but you were actually breaking open. Breaking open to deeper awareness. Breaking open to maturity. Breaking open to responsibility. That breaking point built resilience. The refinement of intentons. Your intentions become purer. You check your motives. You ask yourself why. Why do I want this? Why am I pursuing this? Is it ego? Is it validation? Or is it purpose? This self-examination protects you. It keeps you sincere. The power of consistency. Not intensity. Consistency. Small disciplined actions repeated daily. That is where transformation hides. Not in dramatic announcements. Not in emotional bursts. But in quiet commitment. Day after day. Even when no one notices. The test of success. When progress begins to show. Another test appears. Pride. Will you remain humble? Will you remember the struggle? Will you stay grounded in gratitude? Success without humility corrupts. But success with humility strengthens. Choose wisely. The detachment from validation. You no longer crave approval the way you once did. You realize applause is temporary. Trends fade. Opinions shift. But character remains. You begin to live for integrity, not attention. For impact, not image. For truth, not popularity. That detachment is freedom. The acceptance of process. You stop rushing the journey. You stop comparing timelines. You stop measuring your progress against others. You understand that growth is personal. That your path is unique. That patience is strength. You focus on your steps. One disciplined step at a time. The expansion of capacity. Challenges that once overwhelmed you now feel manageable. Situations that once broke you now teach you. You respond with wisdom instead of panic. With reflection instead of reaction. This is expansion. Your capacity has increased. Your endurance has grown. The deeper connection. As distractions fall away, your connection to truth deepens. You become more reflective, more intentional, more grateful. You value quiet moments. You protect your peace. You prioritize what truly matters. This connection stabilizes you. It centers you. The unseen preparation. Even when nothing visible is happening, something is forming within you. Patience is forming. Discipline is forming. Wisdom is forming. Preparation is often invisible. But when the moment arrives, you will realize you were being trained all along. The rise of self-respect. You begin to respect yourself differently. You honor your time. You guard your energy. You protect your boundaries. You no longer tolerate what weakens you. Not out of arrogance, but out of self-awareness. Self-respect changes everything. It reshapes your environment. The responsibility to lead by example. Whether you notice it or not, someone is watching your discipline. Someone is observing your growth. Leadership is not always a title. It is influence. And influence begins with consistency. Live in a way that reflects your awakening. Not perfectly, but sincerely, the elevation of STANDRDS. Your standards begin to rise quietly. What you once tolerated now feels heavy. What you once excused now feels misaligned. You are not becoming harsh. You are becoming clear. Clear about your values. Clear about your direction. Clear about who you allow close to your spirit. Higher standards protect higher purpose. The discipline of early obedience. There are small nudges you feel. Wake up earlier. Speak less. Study more. Pray with focus. Forgive quickly. These instructions seem simple, but obedience in small things builds strength for bigger responsibilities. Greatness is hidden in daily discipline. The control of the tongue. Not every thought deserves to be spoken. Not every opinion needs expression. Restraint is maturity. You learn to pause, to filter, to respond with wisdom instead of emotion. Words can build. Words can destroy. Choose to build. The shift from reaction to reflection. Before, you reacted instantly. Now you reflect first. You ask, what is the lesson here? What is this situation revealing about me? What can I improve? Reflection slows you down, and slowing down increases wisdom. Wisdom protects your future. The value of structure. Freedom without structure creates chaos, but structure creates stability. You begin to organize your days, plan your goals, track your habits. You realize that purpose needs order, and order requires effort. This structure becomes your foundation. The power of gratitude. Even in difficulty, you begin to see blessings, lessons in hardship, growth in discomfort, clarity in confusion. Gratitude shifts perspective. It keeps your heart soft. It keeps your spirit balanced. It reminds you that every phase has value. The refining of FRENDSHIPS. Some connections fade naturally. Others require intentional distance. You no longer bond over negativity. You no longer entertain constant complaints. You seek growth-minded company. People who challenge you. People who remind you of your standards. Your circle shapes your future. Choose carefully. The silent warfare. Not every battle is visible. Some are fought in your thoughts. Against insecurity. Against procrastination. Against fear of failure. These battles require mental discipline. Guard your thoughts. Feed your mind truth. Strengthen your inner dialogue. The long-term vision. You stop chasing quick results. You think long-term. 5 years. 10 years. Legacy. Impact. You ask yourself, who am I becoming through my daily choices? Because direction matters more than speed. The season of delay. Sometimes progress feels delayed. Doors do not open immediately. Recognition does not arrive quickly. But delay is not denial. Delay builds patience. It tests sincerity. It filters out those who only wanted fast success. If you remain steady, your character deepens. The protection of humility. As you grow stronger, stay humble. Remember your struggles. Remember your mistakes. Remember your dependence on guidance and discipline. Humility keeps you teachable. It keeps you grounded. It keeps your growth pure. The courage to start again. There will be days you fall short. Days you break your routine. Days you feel weak. Do not stay down. Start again. Without shame. Without excuses. Consistency is not perfection. It is persistence. The internal compass. You begin to trust your inner compass. Not blindly, but wisely. You weigh decisions carefully. You seek clarity. You choose alignment over impulse. This compass strengthens with practice. The more disciplined you become, the clearer it feels. The resilience you did not notice. Look back. You survived what once terrified you. You endured seasons that felt endless. You adapted. You learned. You matured. That resilience did not appear overnight. It was built slowly, through patience, through faithfulness to growth. The AWAKNED responsibility. Awareness increases accountability. You can no longer blame ignorance. You know better, so you must do better. That responsibility is heavy, but it is honorable. It means you are no longer drifting. You are steering. The guarding of energy. Not every environment deserves your presence. Not every conversation deserves your input. Energy is valuable. Time is limited. You become selective. Not distant. Not arrogant. Selective with intention. Because focus fuels progress. The discipline of health. You realize your body matters. Your sleep matters. Your nutrition matters. Your strength matters. A clear mind requires a healthy foundation. You begin to treat your body as a trust, not as an afterthought. Discipline becomes holistic. Mind, body, spirit. The rejection of victim mentality. You stop seeing yourself as unlucky. You stop blaming circumstances endlessly. You acknowledge challenges, but you refuse to surrender to them. You choose responsibility over resentment, growth over excuses, ownership over complaint. That shift changes everything. The consistency of private work. Behind every visible result is invisible effort. Early mornings, quiet study, silent prayers, self-correction, no audience, no recognition, just commitment. This private work shapes public impact. The expansion of empathy. As you mature, your empathy deepens. You judge less. You understand more. You remember your own struggles. You extend patience. But empathy does not mean weakness. It means strength under control. Compassion with boundaries. The UNFOLDING journey. This journey continues daily. Layer by layer. Habit by habit. Decision by decision. You are not finished. You are forming. You are not perfect. You are progressing. And every disciplined step forward confirms that nothing was removed from you, except what was never meant to define you. If this message awakens something inside you, do not scroll away unchanged. Do not return to sleep after clarity has touched you. This is your moment to choose discipline over distraction, integrity over impulse, purpose over comfort. Comment below, I choose growth. Declare it boldly. Own it publicly. Let your commitment be stronger than your excuses. Like this video if you refuse to shrink back into average. Subscribe to Return to Awakening if you are serious about elevation, accountability, and truth that challenges you to become stronger every single day. This is not entertainment. This is alignment. And your next level begins with the decision you make right now.